Today I'm going to do the Q&A video. You guys have given me a lot of awesome questions, so I'm going to go through them and answer them as good as possible. So the first question is from Stefano. He asked me if I have some travel plans after the lockdown. And first of all, the lockdown in Norway is not entirely lockdown. We are able to go around in our country to go out in nature, but we don't allow to travel internationally. So I have a plan to go back to Dovrefjell in 3 weeks, I guess, to photograph mountain birds, and I'm really looking forward to that I haven't been there in the summertime. Other than that, my biggest travel plan for this year here is go back to Finland to photograph bears, wolves and wolverines. And that I hope that will be the case. It's not necessary that this is going to happen because of the coronavirus, but if the situation is changing to better, I will go to Finland to photograph bears, wolverines and wolf, and that is really a great thing, and I hope that will be. And Stefano also has a YouTube channel. You go and check his stuff out. He is a really awesome birder and photographer and has really nice videos. I'll leave a link in the description below. So next question is from a guy called Barry B, and he asked me if I can give you some tips on earning money of photography. And I think that would be probably just talking a little bit how I started to earn some money. First of all, this is not my full-time job. This is only a side job for me with photography. It's not easy to make it full-time. But for me, it started all out with workshops. As I grew as a photographer and wildlife photography, I started to develop skills and knowledge and all that, and I can use that to learn other beginners. So I started to partner up with Stavanger Photo, and we arranged workshops to go out and photograph red squirrels and birds and insects, and I started to have some earnings through that. And also selling some pictures. People contacted me through Facebook and Instagram and sold some pictures. I haven't go active out to sell my picture, but yeah, someone liked my images and I sold them. I think that is my tip to learn your skill, to learn the art of photography and develop knowledge around that. And who knows, maybe in your area someone wants to start photography, and you can teach them how to do that. So another question is from a guy called himself Ketchup. And I'm not sure if this is a question, but he says, can you photograph pheasants? And also, you are great photography. Thank you very much for that. And pheasants, I hope I can do that, and I get the possibility to photograph that beautiful bird someday maybe. So yeah, let's hope. So another really great question is from Ben. I think his last name is pronounced Fitzcosta. I'm not sure, sorry Ben. But yeah, he was wondering what my first camera and lens were, and if I ever were into other types of photography before wildlife. My first lens was a Nikon D3000 together with a 55 to 200 millimeter lens. And I actually bought the camera equipment because of wildlife. I always been fascinated by nature, wildlife, birds, because of my father taking me out as a kid and going out to hunt. And he has had really great knowledge about wildlife and birds, and therefore I always find that fascinating. So one day in 2009, I was traveling to Thailand and lent a camera from my brother and there were some awesome birds and some monkeys in the area, so I started to try to photograph them, and went home and bought camera equipment for myself, and yeah, the rest is history. I was hooked. So haven't done anything before wildlife photography. It all started there. But after I grew as a photographer, I has done some wedding photography and other types of projects. And also a little shout out for Ben. He also has a YouTube channel. Go and check him out. Awesome stuff. I'll leave the link in the description. Another great question is from John Tomasella. I'm not sure if that's pronounced right, but he has a question if I find myself using the teleconverter more often or not. And the teleconverter is a great tool for me, and if I need to pull everything much more closer, I'm using it. Sometimes I use it on small birds that's hard to come close to, and also if I'm not going to like pursue the wildlife, but stay in one place, and then I can use teleconverters to like pull in. So hard to say. I use it often, but sometimes I don't have to use it. So it's more like on and off in a session. I can use it in one picture to like get a portrait, and then take it off to get like a wider perspective, as I did with the gray-headed woodpecker in the last video. Hope that answers your question, John. Sorry. So another great question is from Rajan, I think it's pronounced, or something like that. He asked me if I have some advice, a beginner's advice on a budget, who is unsure how to find good location for wildlife. If I understand you correctly, you are from India, so I have not enough knowledge about your area, but I would talk to some local people. That is the best way to start, to ask some local people who are out in the area, maybe farmers or people who are out in nature all the time. Maybe they have some tips on seeing a bird or an animal in a spot that they see it often, and go to that spot and just be in distance and check out of some behaviors. If, for example, a bird comes in and use a perch every time it comes in, maybe you can take advantage of that and position yourself near that with some camouflage. Maybe use a camouflage with the environment, sticks and leaf, grass, whatever you can find, and just sit there and wait. So more than often I find myself that if I have much knowledge about the area, just to ask some people who are from around, and then go out to experience the behavior of that type of animal or bird. I can use that in advantage to get my pictures. So I'm guessing start out with try to find someone to ask about if they have some tips for you, some species they have seen maybe, and start out there and go out in that area. Just stay in a distance and observe and see if you can find some behavior or something that you can take advantage of. I don't know if that answered your question good, but yeah, I think that is the best tip I can give you, to research and get as much knowledge about a certain area as possible. Great question from Stan. He says, I'm taken by the beautiful subdued light in all of your shots. Is this a combination of northern lights angles, shooting only in the early morning, and a dominant weather in your area? What are you looking for to get that signature look? Of course, in in the wintertime, we have a low angle of the sun all the time, and we can take advantage of that. And that is really, really awesome when we have the sun out. If it's not the sun out, it's actually too dark to photograph. But that is one thing, and I always strive to photograph in early mornings and late evenings, so I get that golden light. And if not, if it's like overcast, I'm shooting in midday. And what I'm looking for then, when I shoot in sun, I can use the sun in many ways to photograph, to get like the painting of light, if you want to. And one thing I really love is getting a bird or an animal in the shadow and getting the background lit up by the sun, so I get really, really vibrant colors. But you need to be aware to expose for the shadow area of the bird, and so the bird doesn't get dark. Or if I have the direct sun on the bird, in getting it really, the sun really low, get that warmth color. And also if I shooting backlit, you also need to have the sun really low in the sky, because if you have it too high, it's just going to be a silhouette picture. But I don't know if you saw the video of the dipper. When I got the backlit image of the dipper, actually the sun almost touches the bird, so you get that rim light around the bird, but also it touches the background, so you get really nice colors in the background. And so you always, it's almost like painting with light, though, painting and using it as gentle as possible. If it's too hard, it's really impossible for the camera to comprehend, and yeah, you don't get the same result that you see with your eye that you do with the camera. The camera is not as good as your eyes, so you need to learn how to paint with the light and use that in advantage, and how the light reacts to your camera. So I think it's taking just practice to get that. And if I'm shooting like in midday and overcast, I'm also to get like a little bit vibrant colors. I try to have a background that is colorful. Maybe I can get some foreground as well that is colorful, and then you can get a little bit more light out of it, and you can do also a post-processing afterwards, just to light up the colors in the pictures a little bit more lighter, so it pops more out as well. But as you've seen in my post-processing videos, I don't like to overdo the post-processing, so be aware of that too. I don't know if that answered your question. Please tell me, and I will try to answer it better next time. But that's really great question. Thank you for that. Another great question is from Joel, and he asked me if I recommend a lens for bird photography. And I would say I started out with 200mm when I started out photography, and I think that is a little bit too short, especially in the small birds. The birds just become a little dot in the picture. So if I recommend something, I think that would be like the Tamron 150-600. Then you get a really long range, and you can also start with a crop camera. You don't need full frame cameras to get good picture. I have almost all my time shot with a DX camera. It's only like in the last year that I also used the full frame camera. But yeah, I think the 150-600 from Tamron, I think that is a great lens to start out with. If that is too expensive, at least 300mm I would say. But then you need to learn how to come much more closer. But 600mm, yeah, I think that's good. So our next question is from Rowley. He says, would you buy a D500 in 2020, or should we be making the switch to mirrorless? And for me, the answer is pretty easy, but this is not an answer that is like written in stones. That's just my opinion. But I would say yes, I would buy a D500 this year if I didn't have the camera. I think it's a really, really nice camera. I love that camera there. It's sharp, it's fast, and I think it's the ISO is not too bad. The ISO performance is not too bad, and you have like 10 frames per second, and I have a Robin just in front of me here. Sorry, I didn't mean to stop there, but yeah, I really love the D500. That is an awesome camera. So yes, I would bought the D500 in 2020 if I didn't own that. And I have tried mirrorless camera, but I'm not sure, but I don't I'm not too comfortable with that yet. Maybe in the future, but for now I'm sticking with the DSLR, and yeah, that's just my opinion. The next question, I think I answered that question by because Bartos, he asked me if I rather to have a D500 or a Z6. I think I answered that in the other question. I would say the D500. Next question is from Andy Outdoors Living. He has an awesome channel as well. He's from Sweden. I'll leave a link in the description. He takes some awesome pictures of waterfalls or shorebirds and yeah, other types of birds. Go and check his channel out. Really, really cool. And he asked me which was your most memorable wildlife moment, and which species is in your dreams when it comes to the perfect wildlife photo. And that is a great question. My most memorable wildlife moment, that's so hard to answer though, because it's so many. But I think if I'm going to choose like an animal, I have to say the musk oxen in Dovre. The first time I saw that, I think I almost started to cry. It's such a stunning animal, and especially when you find them in the harsh condition with snow and ice and that cold condition, and see how little they survive on, feeding on in the wintertime. That is such a really like fascinating animal, and I think that was probably my favorite encounter with animal. But of course I love bears and wolf, and yeah, howling wolf also was really good. But yeah, if I have to choose one, I think I have to say the musk oxen. And the other question was species is in your dreams when it comes to the perfect wildlife photo. I think in birds I have to say the great grey owl. I haven't seen a great grey owl yet. I hope I will do someday, but that is really high on my list to photograph. I would love to photograph that beautiful owl. Such a stunning bird, so hopefully one day. But in wildlife or animal, I think I would say the bison, the American one that you find in Alaska. Do you find it in Alaska? I don't know, but the one you can find in America, the big bison there, the plains bison, I guess it calls maybe. It's a really beautiful animal. I would love to photograph that one day. So yeah, I think that was it. And of course get a really nice red fox in the winter time on snow with its red colors. I would love to photograph that as well. So but yeah, it's hard to pick, but yeah, it's so many. Thank you, Andy. So another question is from Ash. Ask me where in the world do I like to photograph the most? And I have to say my own country. I love to photograph here in Norway. I love the Arctic wildlife so much. more than going to Africa to photograph wildcats and yeah, all the other animals. I would of course not say no if I be able to go there. It's not that, but I really love the Arctic wildlife. Something about that, especially in the winter time. So yeah. So another question is from Wilson Nature Photography. He also has a YouTube channel. Go and check him out. I'll leave the link in the description below. But he asked me if I ever get the chance to work with a floating hide that I mentioned a while back. I actually made a video about that a year ago, I think, but I haven't been able to do it. I had a plan to do it, but it was such a bad weather and actually too much waves, so I didn't have the chance to do that. But someday I hope I will. It's really cool. And another question is from Stan Wildlife Photography, and he asked me how do I size and crop my images for Instagram, the pixel size. And I'm not the right one to ask that question, because I don't think I do it right, to be honest. I crop my images, I size my images to 2500 on the longest side, which I have found that fits perfect for Facebook, and I just use that for Instagram, but I don't know if that's correct or not. Just tell me if someone knows that what I should do there, but yeah. So the next question is from Jamie Burning, and he asked me what is my favorite subject to photograph, and he says mine are definitely birds, and I can say mine too. I love photographing birds. Really cool. There's such a big variety with colors and behaviors, and yeah, birds for me too. So next question is from Ian, and he asked me, how do I get so close to your subject? Your shots are always like just perfection. Oh, thank you. That's so nice of you. But yeah, getting close to birds and animals is really hard. It's not an easy thing to do, but I guess developing skills and knowledge about the species I want to photograph helps me a lot. And patience also helps me, and a little bit of luck, of course. But I use blinds often to get close, to just position myself. And also in wintertime, I love photographing red squirrels or small birds. I can use food to get the bird to come closer to me. But for example, in the red deer or roe deer, I just place myself in a place that I know that they will come. And sometimes I'm lucky, they will come close, sometimes I'm not lucky. So I have a lot of trips not finding anything. So it's only the one with, like, when I'm getting close to animals that I show you on the channel. Otherwise it would be too boring. But yeah, I think just to be in the right place in the right time, I think it's all about knowing the area, knowing the subject, and how to position and have patience. Just wait it out, and yeah, it will come. So yeah, I'm not sure if I missed some questions there. So awesome to all of you that send me these questions, and I hope I answer them correctly. If not, just let me know, and I will try to answer them as good as I can with maybe some text. Maybe I do another Q&A video. But it was great, and I thank you for the questions again. Do check out the ones that I mentioned with other YouTubers, and yeah, I will see you next time. And next time I'm going to do something really cool. I need to show you. So I'm going to go out and photograph macro insects, and I'm going to, of course, use my 90mm from Tamron. This is just a regular macro 1:1, but I also going to use this one here. This is what's it called? I'm not sure what the brand is, but whatever. This is a magnification 5 times, so I can get really close to insects. I'm going to try that out to do some high magnification pictures of insects. I haven't done that before, so it's going to be some experimenting with this, and I'm going to take you with me, and yeah, I hope you will enjoy that. But until next time, I will see you, and if you are new here, don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell button, and you will get notification next time I upload a new video. See you, bye.